Hello, dear students. I hope and wish that you all are doing good for yourself. And now we'll move to the next chapter of our class 8 NCERT. This chapter and this entire unit, there are two chapters in this unit, judiciary. It talks about judiciary. So till now, both in our class 6, 7th and now in class 8th, we have discussed everything that is there in the NCERT books regarding the first two organs of the state, that is legislature and judiciary, this executive. Now we will come to judiciary, and then we will see what exactly judiciary is, how it functions, what are the roles, what are its own limitation. So here you see this is the Supreme Court of India situated in Delhi. We have just one Supreme Court. Of course, Supreme can be just one. If it's more than one, it's not Supreme. So that's the office of Supreme Court in Delhi. Here, of the most revered institutions of Indian democracy. As they have shown here, it's normally quite crowded here. What is the role of judiciary? This we have to see here. So when we talk about the role of judiciary, the first thing it says is dispute resolution. Judicial system provides a mechanism for resolving dispute between citizens. A person who is not satisfied with his job, and anything, it can be a property related case, some job related issue, contract related issue, between two people, between more than one individual, there is another party involved here. So whenever he or she is not happy with any other individual, he or she tries to resolve the matter on their own. But there might come a chance where none of them trust each other. So when they don't trust each other, when I don't trust what you are saying and vice versa, we shall move to court. On which an institution on which both of us have to trust. So it provides a dispute resolving mechanism to citizens. Between citizens and government, there might be chance I'm not happy with my government. Several people have filed PILs against the government. PIL stands for public interest litigation. So I can file a case against the government, my state government, my central government, any form of government. Between two state governments, we have discussed this, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu fighting since I was in school over Kaveri River. Funny part is they have not been able to create an alternative to it. And both have access to sea. Both of them have huge coastal areas and they are fighting for an incredible India. So, and between central and state government, at times like Kerala has recently. So Kerala government has recently filed a petition in Supreme Court where they have questioned central government's move to bring the CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Bill. They say that it's against Article 14, and whether it is against Article 14 or it's right, that we shall discuss separately when we will study citizenship and the need and the center's move to bring CAA. Second is judicial review. Final interpreter of the Constitution. Please remember this line. It was asked in your prelims. They gave 4 options: Supreme Court, Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, and President. Who is the final interpreter of the Constitution? So, it is the Honorable Supreme Court of India. Which means they are the final words when it comes to saying anything on any constitutional article or any provision. If there is an ambiguity on any of the constitutional provision, it's the Supreme Court that would interpret the correct meaning. They are the final. And it also has the power because of this judicial review. You can write here, you can just put a one sticky note and write here Article 13, 1.3. Article 13 of the Indian Constitution implicitly provides for judicial review because it has the power. Judiciary also has the power to strike down particular laws passed by the parliament if it believes that these are violation of basic structure of constitution, and I'll do it with you, don't worry, we'll do it together. We shall write here article 13 and we'll give an example, because these things we have to study. So why not keep ourselves updated during NCERT days itself, so that when we will see that, we'll know that yes, we have discussed that during NCERT itself. NJAC, now what is NJAC and everything we'll discuss later. When we'll study Supreme Court in detail, we'll study first judges, second judges, third judges, and the fourth judges case. So NJAC is the fourth judges case. Next, it comes to upholding the law and enforcing fundamental rights. So it's the Supreme Court which upholds the law and fundamental rights. We all have 6 fundamental rights that are given to us by the Indian Constitution. So if someone tries to trespass over them, someone tries to violate them, then Supreme Court can protect us. It's the protector, upholder of the fundamental rights. So what is an independent judiciary? Without reading this, I can just summarize it for you. A judiciary which is not pressurized by the government, a judiciary which takes decision on its own, a judiciary which decides case on the merit of the case without favoring the government. Imagine a scenario. China, it has a committed judiciary. There the highest court cannot take any decision that does not favor the Chinese government. So suppose me and you are Chinese and we try to file a case against our government. First of all, we won't be able to file the case because they will shut up. They will just shut us up. They will kill us even before we can file them. But somehow if we succeed, even then the Supreme Court will not favor us. They will always favor their government. So this happens when there is a non-independent judiciary. And it would not have been possible if Indian judiciary was not independent for anyone to sue its own government, to question their own government and take their government in the court. So we can do that. We can challenge any centre's move in the court, and court will decide on the merit. It will not unnecessarily or give any undue advantage to government. Any government, it can be state government, central government, or even the local levels. Anything that represents state. Now, what represents state? For now, you just know that Article 12. Article 12 has defined state, which we shall see later. So, what is the structure of courts in India? I'll give you this because at lower level people are confused. District level or tehsil level, we have a district judge. See, it's actually called a district court or subordinate court. There we have a session court. District court usually deals with civil matters. Session court deals with criminal matters. Civil matter means divorce, property dispute, inheritance. Criminal matter is, murder, rape, attempt to murder, extortion, theft, these things. Then we have a high court. Every state has a high court. In fact, not every state has a high court. Maharashtra and Goa have same Bombay High Court. Punjab and Haryana have Chandigarh High Court. See, it depends on the number of cases. Because Goa is a small state, so it has less number of cases. That's why they can work with Bombay High Court. That is in Maharashtra. Same goes for Haryana. There are less cases that come to High Court level. So they have a common court with Punjab. That is Chandigarh High Court. Both for Punjab and Haryana. In Uttar Pradesh, we have Lucknow High Court, but one bench of Lucknow High Courts also sits at Prayagraj, the new name of Allahabad, Prayagraj. Why? Because at these two places, at both these places, there were so many cases that High Court had to open its another branch that is called bench. So Allahabad High Court has a bench of, depends on the number of cases as I told you. So when you are not happy with a district court or a sessions court judgment, you think you have been wronged, you can appeal to the High Court. If you are not happy with what High Court says, you can come to Delhi to the Supreme Court. So 3 layers. District court or session court, let us call it lower court, high court, Supreme Court. What if Supreme Court does not agree? All you can do, you are not happy with Supreme Court judgment, all you can do is to file a review petition that please review this judgment again. Less chances that you will be allowed to do that because it's a cumbersome process, and still less chances that they will overturn their decision through your review petition. So Supreme Court is the final word. After that, God is left. And as they have written here, Supreme Court is New Delhi, presided over by Chief Justice of India. So this is the pyramidal hierarchy: lower courts, high courts, Supreme Court. There is no flat hierarchy, there is a pyramidal hierarchy. That's the High Court of Madras. Very old one. And this is how courts operate. Appeals happen. You are not happy with lower court judgment, you can appeal to the higher court. So if district court's judgment does not favor you or you are not happy, you can appeal to high court. From high court, you can appeal to the Supreme Court. So different branches of legal system: criminal law and civil law. I have told you, still we shall see it, deals with conduct or acts that the law defines as offense: theft, harassing a woman to bring more dowry, murder. Deals with any harm or injury to rights of individual: disputed sale of land, purchase of goods, rent matter, divorce, inheritance, who would keep the child after divorce. The rights of individuals. This is offense, a criminal offense. Usually starts with lodging of an FIR. FIR you have to lodge with the police, who investigates the crime, after which a case is filed. And in civil law, a civil case can be filed before the relevant court by the affected party. Like, I have been affected, so I'll file it. If found guilty, accused is sent to court. The court gives the specific relief asked for, and the matter can be settled there. No need to send the person to jail. You can be compensated and your things will be taken care of. So does everyone have access to courts? That's a dismal state in our country, that not everyone has access to courts. So that is how the concept of PIL emerged. I see something, some people suffering, I take that matter to court on behalf of those people. This is called PIL, public interest litigation. The interest of public must be served. Now those people cannot come to Delhi or do not have access to courts. They are not knowing the legal know-hows. They are not very well educated. So I, as a concerned citizen who understand these complexities, on their behalf can take their matter to the court through what is called PIL, or public interest litigation. Through PILs, many cases have gone to courts and courts have judged these cases. So it's a judicial innovation, and it has happened in India for last 2 to 3 years. No, not 2 to 3 years, 20 to 30 years. In last 2 3 years, it has again took an amorphous form, a different form. So courts, we have to see PILs and many things, Article 32 and everything later on. So courts exercise a crucial role in interpreting the fundamental rights, and maximum time this article 21 has been interpreted by the Supreme Court when it comes to any case that affects the rights of the citizen. Article 21 is right to life and personal liberty. So whenever court takes a call, they usually, this is what they have referred to most of the times. Article 21 is very, very important article. I think to study it, we will study them and we will study in detail all the fundamental rights. And this would take maximum time. So just a passing reference that we have here. Nothing more than that. And what affects a common person's access to justice is the inordinately long number of years that court take to hear a case. Yes, this is a very time-taking process. Usually, judges give new dates, and the procedures are painstakingly slow. So yes, there are reforms that judiciary also needs that we have to see. They have given the example of Hashimpur massacre. It happened in 87. Now, do you know it took 31 years when these people were punished? The PSC, Provincial Armed Constabulary, it happened after 31 years. So 31 years is a long time. So yes, the process is very low, and the process is very slow, and at times it frustrates the citizen because as we know that justice delayed is justice denied. So it also affects the fundamental rights because how long can you remain away from justice if the justice rightfully belongs to you? So this is a very basic commentary on judicial system of India, how the courts function, what are the different layers, what is criminal law, what is civil law, and there are much more things that we'll discuss in the next class. So for now, please read them. Read this chapter, very chapter that we have discussed. I hope you have already read that. Watch this video and attempt the questions. Again, I'll be back with the next chapter where I will wrap up the judiciary part and we'll move to the next module. So, happy learning to all of you. Please keep writing. Thank you.